My name is Camille Porter, and I'm 26 years old. The day I graduated with my master's degree, my mom called it pointless. Then she and my dad drove 3 hours to watch my brother accept a plaque from the Chamber of Commerce instead. 2 empty seats in row 14. That was the day I stopped expecting anything from my family. But here's what none of them knew. 1 week later, a $10 billion company would offer me a deal worth over $5 million. And suddenly, my mom had a lot to say. "We need to talk, Camille. Family meeting tomorrow." I showed up to that meeting, but I didn't bring what they expected. Before I tell you what happened at that table, please take a moment to like and subscribe, and drop your location and local time in the comments. I'd love to know where you're listening from. Now let me take you back to Ridgemont, Ohio, to the year I was 8, and the form my mother signed without asking me. I'm sitting in Mrs. Daly's third-grade classroom, staring at a reading test. The letters slide around the page like ants on wet glass. I know the word is beautiful. I've heard my mom say it 100 times. About Tyler's report card, about the roses in the front yard, about the pot roast she makes every Sunday. But on paper, the word breaks apart. B-E-A-U. My pencil hovers. My hand shakes. Mrs. Daly collects the tests. Mine is half blank. That evening, the phone rings during dinner. My mother answers, listens, and hangs up without saying goodbye. She looks at my father across the table. The school wants Camille evaluated. They think she has a learning disability. My father, Glenn, sets down his fork. He doesn't look at me. He looks at his plate. "It runs in your side of the family," my mother says. Tyler is 12. He's doing his algebra homework at the end of the table, and when my mother says that, he glances at me. Not with cruelty, with relief. The kind of relief you feel when the teacher calls someone else's name. The next morning, before I've finished my cereal, my mother tells me I'm switching classes. She doesn't ask if I want to. She doesn't explain what it means. She's already signed the form. "I signed it last night," she says, rinsing a dish. "It's better this way. You'll be with kids like you. Kids like me. I'm 8, and I don't fully understand what that means yet, but I understand the tone. The same tone she uses when she talks about the neighbor's dog that digs up her garden. Something to manage, not something to love." That was the first time my mother made a decision about my life without asking me. It wouldn't be the last. Fast forward 6 years. I'm 14. Tyler is 18 and heading to community college in the fall. My mother has been planning his send-off party for 3 weeks. The backyard fills with 30 people on a Saturday afternoon. There's a banner strung between the oak tree and the fence post. "Our pride, Tyler Porter." My mother spelled out his name in blue frosting on a sheet cake. She bought matching napkins. I'm carrying a tray of lemonade glasses to the folding tables when Aunt Brenda stops me. "Camille, honey, how's school going for you?" Before I can answer, my mother appears at my elbow. "Oh, she's doing her best. We're just happy she's still in school." She steers Aunt Brenda toward the cake table, and the conversation closes like a door. I spend the rest of the afternoon refilling drinks and collecting paper plates. Nobody asks me about my grades. Nobody asks me what I want to be when I grow up. I'm furniture. Tyler gives a little speech. My father claps. My mother cries. "This is our Tyler," she tells the crowd. "He's going to take over the store someday." Porter Building Supply. My father's hardware and lumber shop on Main Street. The family legacy. Tyler's inheritance. My mother never once talked about what my legacy might be. That night, after the last guest leaves and the banner sags in the dark, I'm clearing the backyard alone. Under a folding chair, I find Tyler's old laptop, the one he replaced that morning with the new MacBook my parents bought him as a going-away gift. The screen is cracked at the corner. The hinge is loose. I carry it to my room, open it, and find a browser tab still loaded. An HTML tutorial, half finished. I stare at the screen for a long time. Something in me shifts, but I don't have a name for it yet. Here's the thing about code. It doesn't rearrange itself when you're not looking. Letters on a page have always been my enemy. They shift, swap, blur together until a sentence looks like a foreign language. But code is different. It follows rules. If you write it right, It works. If you write it wrong, it tells you exactly where you messed up. No ambiguity, no judgment, just logic. I start teaching myself that same week. I use Tyler's cracked laptop and the free Wi-Fi from the library 2 blocks away. I can't read documentation the normal way, so I download a text-to-speech program and listen to tutorials while other kids my age are watching TV. It takes me twice as long to get through a single lesson. I don't care. For the first time in my life, something makes sense. By 15, I can build a basic website. By 16, I'm writing Python scripts that automate my homework formatting, because reading my own handwriting is almost as hard as reading a textbook. By 17, I'm debugging code faster than I can read a restaurant menu. Nobody in my family knows. Not because I'm hiding it, because nobody asks. One night, my mother walks into my room without knocking. I'm hunched over the laptop, lines of green text scrolling on a black terminal. "Don't waste electricity on games," she says. I don't correct her. She doesn't ask what I'm actually doing. She stands in the doorway for maybe 3 seconds, then leaves. That was the thing about my mother. She never asked, because she'd already decided the answer. I was the slow one, the difficult one, the one who'd be lucky to finish high school. Why bother looking closer? So she didn't. And I stopped waiting for her to. Senior year, I applied to 3 universities. Computer science, full scholarship at a state school 200 miles from Ridgemont. When the acceptance letter arrives, I show it to my mother at the kitchen counter. She reads it once, sets it down next to the toaster. A scholarship? For what? Computers? She opens the fridge. Who's going to hire you? My father drives me to campus on a Sunday in August. 3 hours on the highway, and neither of us says a word. The cornfields scroll past like a film reel with no soundtrack. When he pulls up to my dorm, he helps me carry 2 boxes to the lobby. Then he stands by the car with his hands in his pockets. "Call your mother sometimes," he says. "No good luck, no proud of you. Just an instruction to keep the peace with Diane." I watch his taillights disappear past the campus gate, and I feel 2 things at once: relief and grief, so tangled together I can't separate them. College is brutal in ways my family never warned me about, because they never thought I'd get here. I use assistive software for every reading assignment. I sit in the front row so I can lip read the professor when the audio processing lag hits. I spend twice as long on exams. My GPA hovers at 3.4 while classmates coast through at 3.8. But I write code faster than anyone in my cohort. My brain sees patterns that textbooks can't describe in words. Sophomore year, I walk into Dr. Ruth Ellison's Advanced Algorithms seminar. She's 55, gray-haired, sharp-eyed, and the first person in my academic life who says, "Your brain doesn't work wrong. It works different. And in this field, different is an advantage." That was 8 years ago. I haven't heard those words from anyone in my family since. I finished my master's degree at 24. 2 years of research, 400 pages of reading I had to listen to instead of skim, 1 thesis that took 11 months to write. The subject? A novel data compression algorithm optimized for high-volume video streaming. Dr. Ellison calls it genuinely original work. I call my mother 3 weeks before the ceremony. "Mom, graduation is May 15th, 10 a.m. I reserved 2 seats for you and Dad." Silence. Then, "Your father has a bad knee, Camille, and Tyler's getting his Young Entrepreneur Award that same day. The whole Chamber of Commerce will be there." "My ceremony's at 10. Tyler's event is at 6. You could do both." "Honey, it's a lot of driving, and honestly, it's just a ceremony." Just a ceremony. 4 years of undergrad, 2 years of graduate work, 6 years of waking up at 5 to listen to textbooks before class. Just a ceremony. My father texts that evening. "Sorry, kiddo. Your mom's right. We'll celebrate when you visit." Graduation day, May 15th. The auditorium is packed. Families hold flowers, balloons, homemade signs. I walk across the stage, shake the dean's hand, accept my diploma. The seats I reserved, row 14, seats 7 and 8, are empty. Dr. Ellison is in the audience. She claps loudest in the section. Afterward, I check my phone. No texts from my parents. No missed calls. But when I open Facebook, there it is. My mother's post, time-stamped 2 hours after my ceremony. A photo of Tyler holding a plaque, grinning in a suit. The caption reads, "So proud of our Tyler, Young Entrepreneur of the Year." 47 people liked it. My mother posted nothing about me. Not that day, not ever. 2 years pass. I'm 26. I work at a small startup in Columbus, writing code by day, refining my compression algorithm by night. The apartment is a one-bedroom with a window that faces a parking lot, but it's mine. During those 2 years, I try. I send Christmas cards. I mail a birthday gift to my father, a new tackle box, because he used to fish before the store consumed every weekend. I invite my parents to visit. We'd love to see your place, honey, my mother says. She never comes. Tyler calls once in 2 years. Hey Cam, do you know anything about building a website? I'm trying to get the store online. I spend 4 hours on a Saturday walking him through Shopify. He doesn't say thank you. He doesn't ask how I'm doing. My father calls to say my mother's been stressed. The house needs some repairs. If you ever want to help out. I send $2,000 that week. He doesn't mention it again. I don't get a thank you note. I don't get a phone call. I keep a contact log on my phone without meaning to. It just shows up in the call history. 47 outgoing calls in 2 years. 3 incoming. 2 from Tyler, both about the website. 1 from my father, about the money. Sitting in my apartment one evening, I realize something that settles in my chest like a stone. If I keep doing this, reaching out, getting nothing back, reaching out again, I will spend the rest of my life waiting for approval from people who've already decided I don't deserve it. And I'll carry that pattern into every friendship, every relationship, every room I walk into. I'd made my peace with being invisible to them. But the universe, apparently, had other plans. I know some of you watching right now have felt exactly this. You've reached out to people who are supposed to love you, and all you got back was silence. Or worse, a one-line text. If that's you, drop a comment below. I want to hear your story. And if this is hitting close to home, hit that subscribe button, because what happens next at that dinner table? I still can't believe I actually went through with it. Now, back to the story. The email arrives on a Tuesday morning, sandwiched between a spam newsletter and a calendar reminder. Ms. Porter, I'm David Chen, CTO at Vantage Systems. We've reviewed the compression algorithm you presented at the ACM data conference last week. We'd like to discuss a licensing arrangement. Are you available for a call? I read it 3 times. Vantage Systems, cloud infrastructure, $10 billion valuation. Their streaming clients include half the major platforms in North America. The call leads to a flight to San Francisco. The flight leads to a conference room on the 32nd floor of a glass tower south of Market Street. 4 engineers, 2 executives, a whiteboard covered in my equations. They want to license the algorithm exclusively. They also want me, lead researcher, new compression division. The offer? $350,000 a year in salary, plus equity vesting over 4 years. Total package value, north of $5 million. I signed the contract on a Thursday. By Friday, TechCrunch runs the headline. Vantage Systems signs $5 million plus deal with independent researcher for breakthrough compression algorithm. Bloomberg picks it up, then Wired, then the local CBS affiliate in Columbus, because Ohio native makes a good local interest angle. I don't post about it. I don't call anyone. I'm not trying to hide. I just don't have anyone to tell. Dr. Ellison sends a one-line email. Told you so. I smile for the first time in days. But the internet doesn't care what I want to keep quiet. Within 48 hours, my phone rings. The caller ID shows a number I haven't seen light up my screen in months. Mom. Camille, honey. Her voice is warm, almost musical. I haven't heard that tone since... Actually, I'm not sure I've ever heard that tone directed at me. Hi, Mom. I saw something about you online. Your father showed me the article. We are so proud of you. I hold the phone away from my ear for a second and stare at it. Proud. The word lands like a coin dropped into an empty well. You're proud, I say. Of course we are. Your father and I always knew you'd figure things out. Always knew. The woman who called my graduation just a ceremony. The woman who signed me into special education without telling me. The woman who told Aunt Brenda I was lucky to still be in school. She always knew. I let the silence sit. 5 seconds. 7. She fills it. Listen, we need to talk. Can you come home this weekend? Family meeting? Nothing serious. Just catching up. What's the meeting about? Family stuff. Tyler has some ideas he wants to share with everyone, and your father misses you. My father, who hasn't called me in 4 months, who texted sorry kiddo and let it stand as a complete sentence. I know what this is. Every nerve in my body tells me not to go. The logical part of my brain, the part that builds algorithms, that sees patterns, that computes outcomes, screams, don't. But there's another part. The part that is 8 years old, carrying lemonade glasses, watching her mother cry over Tyler's speech. That part still hopes, still whispers, maybe this time. Okay, I say. I'll be there Saturday. I hang up. I sit on my bed for a long time. I said yes. Not because I believed her, but because I needed to see their faces when I said what I came to say. Thursday morning. Tyler posts on Facebook, public. Family is everything. Some people forget where they came from when they get a little success. Real ones stick together. Hashtag family first. 73 likes. Mostly Ridgemont locals. Aunt Brenda comments, Amen. Uncle Ray adds a prayer hands emoji. I screenshot it. Not out of anger, out of documentation. A habit I picked up in research. Save the data. By Thursday afternoon, my grandmother texts me. Grandma June. Sweet voice, soft hands, the kind of woman who puts doilies on every surface. Your mother says you're coming home. So good to hear. We're all so happy for you, dear. I read it twice. So happy for you. Not so happy to see you. For you. As in, for what you now represent. Diane has told the entire family about the money. I call Marcus Webb. We went to undergrad together. He studied pre-law while I studied code. He's an attorney now, practicing in Columbus. Quiet. Methodical. The kind of person who reads the footnotes. Marcus, I need you to come with me to Ohio on Saturday. Family thing? Family thing. And I need you to draft a document. A voluntary relinquishment of inheritance and family financial obligations. Pause. You sure? I'm not going there to fight. I'm going there to be free. He agrees. Then, because Marcus is Marcus, he pulls public records before we hang up. He calls back 20 minutes later. Camille, there's something you should see before we go. What? The Porter residence. Your parents' house. There's a lien on it. $180,000. Home equity loan, co-signed by Glenn Porter and Tyler Porter. Filed 3 years ago. I sit down. The stone in my chest gets heavier. 180,000, I repeat. Public record, Marcus says. This isn't a family meeting, Camille. It's a collection call. I spend Friday piecing it together. 3 years ago, Tyler wanted to expand the store. New inventory system, bigger showroom, delivery trucks. The bank covered part of it. For the rest, Glenn took out a home equity loan, putting the house as collateral. $180,000, signed in his name and Tyler's. My father mortgaged his home for Tyler's ambition, and I'm certain Diane doesn't know the full amount, because if she did, she'd have mentioned it in the phone call. She would have led with it. Guilt is her best instrument, and a $180,000 debt would be a symphony. I think about the last time Glenn called, 2 months ago. Your mother's been stressed. The house needs some repairs. If you ever want to help out. I sent $2,000. I thought it was for a leaky roof. It wasn't. It was a minimum payment on a loan I didn't know existed. My father didn't miss me. He missed my potential as a solution. Marcus sends me the full filing Friday evening. The loan originated at First Ridgemont Savings. 3-year term, variable rate. If it's not paid off or restructured within 6 months, the bank can foreclose. 6 months. That's the real clock ticking behind Diane's family meeting. Not nostalgia, not reconciliation, foreclosure. I sit at my kitchen table with the printout and a cup of coffee that goes cold. I think about the empty seats at my graduation. I think about 47 unanswered phone calls. I think about, she's doing her best. We're just happy she's still in school. And I make a decision. I'm still going on Saturday. I'm still bringing Marcus. But I'm not going to save that house. I'm going to set myself free from the expectation that I should. Marcus digs deeper. By Friday night, the picture is complete, and it's worse than I expected. Porter Building Supply. Tyler's pride, my mother's proof that her investment in the right child paid off, is hemorrhaging money. Revenue down 40% over 2 years. 2 separate bank loans, both in arrears. Tyler missed a supplier payment in March, and his biggest vendor put him on cash-only terms, which means he can't stock inventory without money he doesn't have. Total debt, around $200,000, not counting the home equity lien. If the store goes under, and the trajectory says it will, the house lien gets called. My parents lose the house. The retirement savings my father quietly drained to cover shortfalls? Gone. Diane, who hasn't worked outside the home in 30 years, would have nothing. I understand the math now. Tyler needs $200,000. The house needs $180,000. And I just signed a deal that put my name next to the words $5 million on every tech blog in the country. They don't want a family meeting. They want a bailout. Part of me feels something close to sympathy, not for the manipulation, but for the desperation underneath it. Glenn is 60 years old, and his retirement is a hole in a spreadsheet. Tyler is 30, and his proof of worth is a store with a fading sign. Diane is 58, and the only asset she's ever controlled is her family. They're drowning, and they're reaching for the one person they spent 2 decades pushing underwater. Saturday morning. I pack 1 bag, 1 folder, and 1 person they don't expect. Marcus drives. We head east on I-70 toward Ridgemont. The cornfields are gold under an October sky, and neither of us says much. There's nothing left to say until we're sitting at that table. Ridgemont hasn't changed. Same oak-lined streets, same faded storefronts, same American flags hanging limp from porches that could use a coat of paint. I spot Porter Building Supply at the end of Main Street as we drive past. The sign reads, Porter Building Supply, Estain, 1987. But the 7 is peeling and the parking lot has weeds cracking through the asphalt. Marcus parks behind my parents' house. Single story, white siding, green shutters. The oak tree in the backyard is taller than I remember. The banner is gone, but the hooks are still in the bark. My mother opens the front door before I knock. She's wearing the floral blouse she saves for church. Her arms wrap around me, the first hug I've gotten from her in years. It feels like a costume. Look at you, you look so grown up. Her eyes shift to Marcus. The hug drops. Who's this? My attorney. He's here as a guest. 2 seconds of silence. I watch her calculate. Then the smile returns, thinner than before. Well, any friend of Camille's is welcome. Inside, the house smells like pot roast, Tyler's favorite. Not mine. Mine is chicken and dumplings, but nobody ever remembers that. The dining room, oval table, 6 chairs, 2 folding chairs pulled from the garage. My father sits at the head, jaw tight, hands flat on the tablecloth. Tyler is across from him with his wife Sarah, who offers a small wave. Grandpa Walt and Grandma June sit near the window. Grandpa Walt nods at me. Grandma June clutches a napkin. 8 place settings, 7 family members, and 1 attorney nobody was expecting. I glance at the living room wall as I pass. Every framed photo is Tyler. Graduation, wedding, store opening, ribbon cutting. Not a single photograph of me. We sit. My mother serves. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans from a can. She sets a plate in front of Marcus with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes, then takes her seat at the opposite end from my father. I'm so glad we're all together, she begins. Her hands are folded. Her voice is the one she uses at PTA meetings, warm, controlled, rehearsed. Family is the most important thing in the world. And I think we can all agree it's been too long. She turns to me. We've been following your career, Camille. Your father and I are just over the moon. Glenn nods. He doesn't speak. Tyler leans back in his chair. Yeah, Cam, congrats. Must be nice to work with computers all day. Sarah stares at her potatoes. Grandma June reaches across the table and pats my hand. We always knew you were special, Camille. I look at her. Sweet, soft Grandma June. She didn't call me once during college. Not once during grad school. Not when I graduated. Not when the article came out. She heard about me from Diane, and now she always knew. I take a bite of pot roast, chew slowly. I'm in no rush. The table fills with small talk. Tyler's plans for the store, Sarah's garden. Grandpa Walt's knee replacement. My mother steers every topic back to family unity. We're porters, we stick together. The way a conductor keeps the orchestra from drifting off tempo. Nobody mentions money. Not yet. They're circling it the way you circle a subject you've rehearsed but haven't found the right moment to introduce. I wait. I've spent my whole life being patient while this family decided when I mattered. A few more minutes won't hurt. The pot roast is dry. The plates are cleared. My mother brings out coffee and a pecan pie, store-bought, which means she's been distracted. Diane Porter does not buy store-bought pie unless something is consuming her attention. She sets the pie down and doesn't slice it. Instead, she folds her hands again and looks at Tyler. He straightens. "So, Camille?" My mother's voice shifts. Still warm, but the rehearsal is showing. "Tyler's been working so hard on the store. You know how tough the economy's been for small businesses." Tyler takes the handoff. "I've got a plan to go digital, online ordering, delivery service, the whole thing, but I need capital to make it happen. Around 200,000. He says it the way you'd ask someone to pass the salt. Casual, entitled. Like $200,000 is a family obligation, not a fortune. My mother adds, "We thought, since you're doing so well now, maybe you could invest in the family business. Keep it in the Porter name. It would mean so much to all of us." Every pair of eyes at the table turns to me. Glenn, Tyler, Sarah, Grandma June, Grandpa Walt, my mother. 7 people, waiting. Grandpa Walt clears his throat. "It's what family does, Camille." I set down my coffee cup. I look at each of them, slowly, deliberately. When was the last time anyone in this room called me before that article came out? The silence is instant. The clock on the wall ticks. Someone's fork clinks against a saucer. Sarah looks at her lap. Tyler's jaw tightens. Glenn stares at the tablecloth. Grandma June opens her mouth, then closes it. Nobody answers, because we all know the answer is never. My mother recovers first. "Camille, this isn't about—" "I didn't ask what it's about," I say. "I asked a question." The room recalibrates. My mother's smile tightens. Tyler reaches for his water glass. Sarah hasn't looked up in 2 minutes. Then my father speaks. For the first time all evening, Glenn Porter opens his mouth, and what comes out isn't comfort or apology. It's the second ask. "Camille, there's something else." His voice is low, almost reluctant, like he's reading a script someone else wrote. "The house, we took a loan a few years back. Things got tight. If we don't pay it back in the next 6 months, we could lose the house." My mother's head turns, slowly, the way a radar dish tracks a signal. "What loan? Glenn, what are you talking about?" Glenn doesn't look at her. "It was for Tyler's expansion. I co-signed the home equity line." "You used our house?" Diane's voice is no longer warm. It's sheet metal. Tyler cuts in. "Dad, you said the bank approved everything." Glenn: "They did. Part of it." "Part of it?" Diane's composure cracks. "How much?" Glenn: 180,000. Grandma June gasps. Grandpa Walt puts his hand on her arm. Sarah pushes her chair back 6 inches, as if the debt might be contagious. And just like that, the carefully choreographed family meeting falls apart. Diane is staring at Glenn with an expression I've never seen on her. Genuine shock, the kind that can't be faked. Tyler is leaning forward, palms up, saying, "I didn't know it was that much." Glenn is shrinking into his chair like a man watching a building he set on fire. I sit perfectly still. I already knew. Marcus told me Thursday night. But I needed them to say it out loud, in front of everyone, so nobody could rewrite this story later. The truth is on the table now, right next to the store-bought pie. My mother is many things, but she is not someone who stays rattled for long. Within 60 seconds, she has processed the betrayal, filed it away, and refocused her aim on the only target that matters tonight. Me. "This is exactly why we need you, Camille." Her voice steadies, her chin lifts. "You're the only one who can fix this." I meet her eyes. "You skipped my graduation." "That was years ago. Let it go." "You called it pointless." A flicker. Then, "I didn't mean it like that. You signed me into a special ed class when I was 8. You didn't ask me, you didn't explain, you just decided I wasn't worth the effort. Diane's jaw sets. I did what I thought was best. No, I say. You did what was easiest. The room is so quiet, I can hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen. Tyler is staring at the table. Sarah has both hands wrapped around her coffee mug like a life raft. Glenn is looking at the far wall, at a photograph of Tyler cutting a ribbon. Grandma June leans forward. Camille, your mother has sacrificed everything for this family. I turn to her. My voice doesn't rise. Everything except showing up for me. June's mouth opens, closes. Her eyes are wet. Grandpa Walt squeezes her hand and says nothing, but he doesn't argue. Diane tries one more angle. So you're going to sit there and punish us? After everything we've done for you? What have you done for me? I ask. It's not rhetorical. I genuinely want to know. Name one thing. She opens her mouth. The answer doesn't come. The silence stretches for 5 full seconds, long enough for every person at that table to feel the weight of it. That's when I reach for the folder. The folder is plain manila, no label, no drama. I open it and pull out a single sheet of paper, typed, dated, organized. This is a timeline, I say. I wrote it this week. It's not an accusation, it's a record. I read aloud. March 2006. Diane Porter signs form transferring Camille Porter to special education without consultation. May 2012. Tyler Porter's send-off party. 30 guests, banner, cake. Camille Porter serves lemonade. August 2016. Glenn Porter drives Camille to college. No congratulations offered. May 2022. Camille Porter graduates with a master's degree. Reserved seats empty. Same day, Diane Porter posts Facebook tribute to Tyler's Chamber of Commerce Award. June 2022 through June 2024. Outgoing calls from Camille Porter to family, 47. Incoming calls from family, 3. 2 regarding website assistance, 1 requesting money. I look up. The room is frozen. You kept count? Diane says. I didn't have to, I say. My phone did. Grandpa Walt is leaning forward now, his hands clasped. He's looking at Diane with an expression I've never seen from him. Not anger, but reassessment. Like a man reading a map he thought he knew and discovering the roads don't match. Grandma June is crying silently, dabbing her eyes with the napkin she's been clutching since I arrived. Tyler won't meet my eyes. Sarah is watching me with something that might be recognition, the look of someone who's starting to understand the shape of the family she married into. Glenn hasn't moved. His hands are still flat on the tablecloth, but his fingers are trembling. 47 calls, Grandpa Walt murmurs. He's not talking to anyone in particular. He's just holding the number in his mouth, tasting it. I turn the page in the folder. There's one more thing. I nod to Marcus. He reaches into his briefcase, calm, professional, like this is a Tuesday afternoon closing and not a family detonation. For context, Marcus says, and this is all public record, the Porter residence at 412 Maple Drive currently carries a lien of $180,000. Home equity loan, co-signed by Glenn and Tyler Porter, originated at First Ridgemont Savings 3 years ago. He pauses to let the number land. It lands hard. Diane turns to Glenn. Her voice is barely above a whisper, but it carries. You used our house. You told me it was a small line of credit. Glenn. I didn't want to worry you. $180,000, Glenn. You didn't want to worry me? Tyler. Dad, you said the bank handled everything. You told me the house was fine. Glenn. It was fine. Until the store. Don't put this on me, Tyler snaps. The table fractures. Diane and Glenn arguing across the pot roast. Tyler defending himself to both of them. Sarah sitting rigid, jaw tight, realizing the man she married is $180,000 deeper in trouble than she knew. Grandma June. Oh, Glenn. Oh, honey. Grandpa Walt says nothing. He watches. I don't participate. I observe. This is their mess, their loans, their lies, their deals made in each other's blind spots. I didn't create any of it. I'm just the person they thought could make it disappear. After 90 seconds of crossfire, the arguing burns itself out the way it always does in families, not with resolution, but with exhaustion. Marcus speaks again, quietly. Camille asked me to prepare one additional document. He places a single sheet in front of me. Every person at the table leans forward. The document is one page, clean type, no legalese beyond what's necessary. Voluntary relinquishment of inheritance and financial obligations. At the bottom, a signature line. My name is already printed beneath it. What is this? Diane asks. Freedom, I say. Yours and mine. I look around the table. I'm not here to save the house. I'm not here to fund Tyler's store. I came here to make one thing legal and clear. I don't owe this family anything financially, and this family doesn't owe me anything either. Tyler leans back like he's been slapped. You're seriously cutting us off? I'm not cutting you off. I'm releasing us. There's a difference. The words settle over the table like snowfall, quiet, cold, and impossible to brush away. Grandma June shakes her head slowly. Camille, honey, you don't mean that. I do, Grandma. I've thought about this more carefully than any decision I've ever made. Glenn stares at the document. His hands are shaking. He doesn't reach for it. He doesn't push it away. He just stares, like a man looking at the receipt for something he lost a long time ago. Diane hasn't moved. Her eyes are on me, hard, calculating, searching for the crack she can pry open. She spent 58 years controlling rooms. She doesn't lose easily. After everything I did for you, she says. Her voice is quiet. I raised you. I fed you. I kept you in this house. You housed me, I say. You fed me. That's not the same as raising me, Mom. Raising me would have meant showing up. You're going to regret this. Maybe. But I won't regret it as much as I'd regret staying. I pick up the pen Marcus placed beside the document. Diane tries one last time. Her voice drops to the register she uses when she wants to sound wounded. The register that kept Glenn in line for 30 years, that made Tyler believe he was her champion, that made me believe, for most of my childhood, that her disappointment was my fault. I'm your mother, Camille. I carried you. I stayed up with you when you were sick. I sat in that school office and fought for you. You sat in that school office and signed a form, I say. You didn't fight for me. You reassigned me. Her lips press together. A vein pulses at her temple. For the first time tonight, Diane Porter has no follow-up. I sign the document. My handwriting is messy. It always has been. Dyslexia doesn't care about penmanship. But my name is legible. Camille Porter, black ink. Marcus signs as witness. He dates it, slides one copy into his briefcase, and places the second copy in the center of the table, between the coffee cups and the store-bought pecan pie nobody touched. Grandma June is crying openly now. Grandpa Walt puts his arm around her, then looks at me. He nods. Once. Small. The kind of nod you give someone when you disagree with their method, but respect their reason. I close the folder. I push my chair back. I want you all to know something, I say, standing. I didn't come here angry. I came here sad, because I spent 26 years hoping this table would feel like home. I look at the empty space on the wall where a photograph of me should be. It never did. I pick up my bag. Marcus stands beside me. We walk toward the door. The front door is 12 steps from the dining table. I know because I counted them as a child. Running to the door when Dad came home, hoping tonight would be the night someone said something about my science fair project, or my spelling test, or anything that wasn't about Tyler. I take those 12 steps now without rushing. Marcus is behind me, briefcase in hand. The house smells like pot roast and silence. I reach the door. My hand is on the knob when I stop and turn around. Not for drama, for completeness. I look at Glenn. Dad, I hope you figure out the house. I really do. But that's your responsibility, not mine. He opens his mouth, closes it. His eyes are red. I look at Tyler. Tyler, I hope the store works out, but you need a business plan, not a sister with a checkbook. Tyler's jaw clenches. Sarah puts a hand on his arm. He doesn't shake it off, which tells me she's the best thing in his life, even if he doesn't know it yet. I look at Diane. Mom, I hope someday you'll understand that loving someone means showing up, not just when it's convenient. Diane doesn't respond. She's standing now, hands gripping the back of her chair, knuckles white. She looks like a woman watching a building she constructed being voluntarily dismantled, brick by the person she least expected to hold the crowbar. I open the door. October air hits my face. The oak tree in the yard is shedding gold leaves onto the driveway. Marcus steps past me and heads for the car. Behind me, a voice. Tyler. Cam, wait. I stop on the porch. I don't turn around. Tyler's footsteps are heavy on the hardwood, then softer on the porch boards. He stops 3 feet behind me. I can hear him breathing, short, uneven, the way people breathe when they're trying to find words that aren't there. Cam, come on. This is our family. You can't just walk away. I turn around. He looks smaller out here, under the porch light, than he ever looked at the head of that dinner table. His shirt is untucked. His eyes are wide. He looks, for the first time in my memory, uncertain. Tyler, when was the last time you called me? Not to ask for help, just to talk. He opens his mouth, closes it. His jaw works like he's chewing something that won't break down. I didn't know it was that bad, he says finally. I know, I say. That's part of the problem. He stands there. The porch light catches the lines around his eyes. 30 years old and already wearing the face of a man who's been running his father's expectations like a business he can't afford. I'm not punishing you, I say, but I can't keep being the person everyone remembers only when they need something. He nods. It's not agreement, it's acknowledgement. The kind you give when someone tells you something true that you're not ready to accept. Take care of Sarah, I say. She's better than this situation deserves. I walk to the car. Marcus already has the engine running. I get in and close the door. Through the rearview mirror, I see the house one last time. Tyler on the porch, hands in his pockets. Diane at the living room window, watching through the curtain. Glenn still sitting at the table, staring at a document he hasn't touched. We pull out of the driveway. The oak tree disappears behind us. Marcus drives for 30 minutes without speaking. The highway opens up, and Ridgemont shrinks in the mirror until it's just a cluster of lights behind the cornfields. You okay? He says. No, I say. But I will be. He nods and turns the radio on low. Country station. Someone's singing about a town they left and never went back to. I almost laugh. I watch the fields pass. Flat, gold, endless. The same fields I saw when I was 18. Sitting in the passenger seat while my father drove me to college without saying a word. Same highway, same corn. But this time, I'm not the girl being delivered somewhere. I'm the woman choosing where to go. My phone buzzes. I look down. Diane. You'll regret this, Camille. Blood is thicker than water. I read it. I set the phone face down on my lap. 3 minutes later, another buzz. Different number. Grandpa Walt. I'm sorry, kiddo. Your grandmother and I should have said something sooner. I stare at the message for a long time. 11 words. It's the first time anyone in my family has apologized to me. Not, we'll celebrate another time. Not, don't be dramatic. An actual apology. I type back, thank you, Grandpa. That means more than you know. He responds with a single period. That's Walt. A man who says what he means and nothing more. Marcus glances over. Good news? My grandfather apologized. First time? First time. He's quiet for a moment. That's not nothing, Camille. No, I say. It's not. The highway stretches ahead. Columbus is 2 hours east. My apartment, my desk, my 2 monitors, Dr. Ellison's cactus on the windowsill, a life that's small and clean and mine. I close my eyes and let the road carry me toward it. I get home after midnight. The apartment is exactly how I left it. Dishes in the rack, laptop on the desk, Dr. Ellison's cactus in its terracotta pot on the windowsill. The parking lot light spills through the blinds and paints stripes on the floor. I drop my bag by the door. I sit at my desk. I open my laptop and stare at the Vantage Systems onboarding email. Orientation starts Monday in San Francisco. New apartment details. Relocation package. A life that starts in 72 hours. I close the email and open a blank document. I type one sentence. Thank you for showing up when they didn't. I send it to Dr. Ellison. She responds at 12:47 a.m. because Ruth Ellison has never slept before 1, with a single line. Go change the world, Porter. You've earned it. I sit in the quiet. No phone buzzing, no voices through thin walls, no one asking for money or favors, or a piece of the thing I built with 6 years of text-to-speech and late nights, and no safety net. For the first time in my life, I don't need anyone to tell me I'm enough. The empty graduation seats, the unanswered calls, the banner that said Our Pride, but never meant me. None of it changes the fact that I'm sitting here, in my own apartment, about to start a job I earned, with a brain that works exactly the way it was supposed to. I turn off the laptop. I look at the cactus. It's blooming. One small orange flower, stubborn and ridiculous and alive despite everything. That should have been the end of the story. But in Ridgemont, news travels faster than forgiveness. I want to pause here and say something directly to you. If you've ever had to choose between peace and family, you're not selfish. You're surviving. I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever had to set a boundary with someone you love? Tell me in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Because the fallout from that dinner, it changed everything for every person at that table. Let me tell you what happened next. 3 months after the dinner, Porter Building Supply closes its doors. Tyler posts a long message on Facebook. The words challenging market conditions and difficult decision appear 4 times each. He thanks everyone who supported us over the years. He does not mention Camille. He does not mention the home equity loan. He does not mention that his wife filed for separation 2 weeks earlier, not because the store failed, but because she discovered the full scope of debt he'd hidden from her. $200,000 from the business, $180,000 secured against a house she thought was paid off. Sarah moves in with her sister in Dayton. Tyler moves back into the room he grew up in, the room with the algebra homework desk and the new MacBook shelf. Grandpa Walt tells me all of this in our weekly phone calls. He started calling every Sunday the week after the dinner, and he hasn't missed one since. He doesn't sugarcoat, he doesn't editorialize. He just tells me what's true. Tyler got hired at Home Depot, he says one Sunday. Lumber department. I don't know whether to laugh or cry, so I do neither. Tyler Porter, heir to Porter Building Supply, stocking 2x4s for $12 an hour at a chain store that helped put his family shop out of business. There's a symmetry there that a writer would call poetic and a daughter would call sad. How's he handling it? I ask. About how you'd expect. Quiet, angry at the wrong things. And Sarah? Filed papers last week. She's done. Tyler didn't lose his business because of me. He lost it because he ran it the way my parents raised him, on assumption and entitlement, with no backup plan for the day the assumptions stopped being true. My father sells the house in January. He doesn't have a choice. The bank gives him 60 days to pay the lien or face foreclosure. Glenn can't pay. The retirement savings he drained to cover Tyler's cash flow shortfalls are gone, and the store's liquidation barely covers its own debts. So 412 Maple Drive goes on the market and sells in 3 weeks to a young couple from Columbus who want a fixer-upper. Glenn and Diane move into a 2-bedroom apartment above the old barber shop on 2nd Street. Rent is $900 a month. Diane, who hasn't held a job since before Tyler was born, starts volunteering at the church thrift store. Not because she wants to, because she needs somewhere to go that isn't a 2-bedroom apartment with the man who mortgaged her home without telling her. Diane blames Glenn. Glenn blames Tyler. Tyler blames the economy. Nobody blames themselves. Nobody calls me. Except once. Glenn's number shows up on a Tuesday evening. I almost don't answer, but something in me, that 8-year-old girl watching taillights disappear past the campus gate, picks up. Kiddo. His voice is thinner than I remember. I know I messed up, but your mom, she's not doing well. She's not sleeping. She's not eating right. I close my eyes. I'm sorry to hear that, Dad, but I'm not the person who can help her. Silence. Long, heavy. The kind of silence that sits between two people who both know a door is closing. I understand, he says. He hangs up. No guilt trip. No manipulation. Just, I understand. I cry after that call. Not because I regret my decision. Because that two-word sentence, "I understand," is the most honest thing my father has ever said to me. And it took losing everything for him to say it. Diane doesn't go quietly. That's not her way. In the weeks after the dinner, she calls Aunt Brenda, Uncle Ray, 2 neighbors, and 3 women from her church circle. The story she tells is simple. Camille abandoned her family the moment she got money. Ungrateful, cold, forgot where she came from. It works, for about 2 weeks. Then Grandpa Walt starts making his own calls. He doesn't defend me with emotion. He defends me with facts. He mentions the 47 unanswered phone calls, the empty seats at graduation, the special ed form Diane signed without discussion, the Facebook post about Tyler's award on the same day her daughter received a master's degree. He mentions these things calmly, the way you'd read items from a grocery list, and he lets people draw their own conclusions. By February, the narrative shifts. Not dramatically. Ridgemont isn't a place where people change their minds fast. But the women at church stop asking Diane to organize the spring luncheon. She's not uninvited, she's simply not asked. The phone calls from neighbors slow down. Aunt Brenda stops commenting amen on Tyler's posts. Diane doesn't apologize. I don't expect her to. Apology would require her to admit that her system, the one where Tyler was the investment and I was the cost, was wrong from the start. That's not a correction she's capable of making. Not yet, maybe not ever. But in December, a card arrives at my San Francisco apartment, handwritten. Diane's cursive, the same handwriting from the special ed form 18 years ago. Merry Christmas, hope you're happy. It's not sarcasm, it's not an apology. It's something in between. A sentence written by a woman who doesn't know how to say what she actually feels. I put the card on my refrigerator. I don't respond. I don't throw it away. I start at Vantage Systems on a Monday in November. The office is all glass and steel, 32 floors above Market Street, with a coffee bar that has more options than the Ridgemont Diner's entire menu. My team is 12 people, mathematicians, engineers, a physicist who switched to data science because particles don't pay as well as packets. I'm the youngest. I'm the only one with dyslexia. And on my first day, I use my text-to-speech software during the morning stand-up meeting without apologizing for it. Nobody blinks. Nobody says she's doing her best. Nobody looks at me the way Tyler looked at me across that third-grade dinner table. They look at my whiteboard equations and ask questions, and I answer them, and the answers are good. 3 months in, the CTO stands up at an all-hands meeting, 400 people, live-streamed to remote offices in Austin and London. I want to recognize someone, he says. Camille Porter's compression algorithm is projected to save our clients an estimated $200 million per year in bandwidth costs. He pauses. She built it because she thinks differently. That's not a weakness. It's our competitive advantage. 400 people clap. I sit in the third row and let the sound wash over me. It's not the same as a mother's approval. It's not the same as a father's pride. It never will be. But it's something real. Recognition earned by work, given by people who judged me on output, not on the assumptions they made when I was 8. After the meeting, a junior engineer stops me in the hallway. "Dr. Porter," she starts. I'm not a doctor, but I don't correct her. "How did you know the algorithm would work?" I smile. I didn't. I just kept trying until the letters stayed still. She laughs. She has no idea what I mean. That's fine. 1 year after the dinner. I'm 27. My apartment in San Francisco has a window that faces the bay, and on clear mornings I can see the Golden Gate Bridge rising out of the fog like something the city dreamed up and forgot to erase. I have friends now. Real ones. Colleagues who invite me hiking on Saturdays. A neighbor who brings me sourdough because she bakes too much and I eat too little. A running group that meets at Crissy Field before sunrise. None of them knew me when I was the girl in the special ed class. None of them care. Grandpa Walt calls every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, which is noon in Ohio, right after church, right before lunch. He tells me about the town. Tyler is working steady at Home Depot. Glenn found a part-time job at a garden center. Diane volunteers at the thrift store 3 days a week. "How's Mom?" I ask, because I still ask, because some habits are older than my resolve. "Same, stubborn." "Yeah," I say. "That's one thing we have in common." He chuckles, a dry, brief sound, like a match striking. You got that right. I ask about Sarah. Walt says she's doing well in Dayton. New job, new apartment. She sends Walt a text every few weeks. She always liked him better than the rest of us. I don't ask about Tyler directly. Walt offers what he thinks I need to hear and holds back the rest. That's his way. He's been watching this family longer than anyone, and he knows the difference between information and interference. You happy out there? He asks before we hang up. I think about it. Not the reflexive, I'm fine, or the practiced, everything's great. I actually think. Getting there, I say. Getting there. On a Sunday night in January, I do something I haven't done since I was 14 and struggling through a homework assignment that took me 4 hours. I write by hand. I sit at my kitchen table with a legal pad and a ballpoint pen, and I write a letter to my mother. The handwriting is terrible. Cramped, uneven, letters reversing themselves out of habit. Dyslexia doesn't go away because you built an algorithm. It doesn't care that 400 people clapped for you. It just is. But I write anyway. Mom, I'm not writing this to hurt you. I'm not writing it to prove anything. I'm writing it because there's something I need to say, and I don't trust myself to say it out loud. I forgive you, not because you earned it, but because I deserve to let go. I forgive you for the form you signed when I was 8, for the banner that never had my name on it, for the graduation you called pointless, for the Facebook post, for the 47 calls, for the pot roast you always made because Tyler liked it. I don't forgive you because what you did was okay. I forgive you because carrying it is heavier than writing it down. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. I hope you learn that controlling people isn't the same as loving them. I hope someday you look at the wall in that apartment and realize something's missing. I put the pen down. I read the letter once. The handwriting is barely legible, even to me. It doesn't matter. I fold the paper, slide it into the back of my desk drawer, and close it. I don't send the letter. I don't need to. The person who needed to read it already has. I open my laptop. A new project is waiting. An open-source text-to-speech tool for children with dyslexia. I'm calling it Ellison. I want to be honest with you about something. I don't hate my family. I don't sit in my apartment plotting their downfall. I don't refresh Tyler's Facebook page to see if the Home Depot job is going well or badly. I don't screen my mother's calls. She doesn't call. I just stopped letting them define me. For 26 years, I was the porter who couldn't read, the one who needed special classes, the one who served lemonade while her brother gave speeches, the one whose graduation was pointless and whose phone calls went to voicemail. And then one day, I stopped accepting that definition. Not because a tech company offered me $5 million. The money didn't change who I am. It changed how the world saw me, and it exposed who my family had always been. Some people will only see your value when the world puts a price tag on it. But your value existed before the offer letter, before the article, before the algorithm. It existed when you were 8 years old, sitting in a classroom where the letters wouldn't stay still, and you kept trying anyway. Boundaries aren't punishment. They're the line between who you were and who you're becoming. I didn't draw that line to be cruel. I drew it because I finally understood that staying on the wrong side of it would cost me more than any amount of money could fix. My brain was never broken. It just spoke a different language, and it took me 26 years to find the people who understood it. If you're still looking for those people, keep going. They're out there. And when you find them, you'll realize something that took me a lifetime to learn. The people who matter don't need you to be fixed. They just need you to show up, the way my family never did. A Tuesday morning in March. I'm at my desk, second cup of coffee, reviewing a pull request from the Ellison project team. 3 developers volunteered their weekends. 2 speech therapists consulted on the phoneme engine. We soft-launched 2 weeks ago, free, open source, available in 4 languages. My inbox has the usual, Vantage stand-up notes, a calendar invite from my running group, a message from my neighbor about leftover sourdough, and 1 email I don't expect. The subject line is empty. The sender is a school in rural Michigan, a teacher, writing on behalf of a student. Dear Ms. Porter, my name is Hannah. I'm 12. I have dyslexia too. My teacher showed me your app and it's the first thing that makes me feel like I'm not dumb. I didn't know other people had brains like mine. Thank you for making something for us. I read it 3 times. The 3rd time I cry. Not the quiet, controlled tears I've gotten used to, the kind that come out of somewhere deeper, Somewhere I sealed shut a long time ago, the kind that happened when someone says the thing you needed to hear at 12 and didn't get until 27. I type back, Hannah, you're not dumb. You never were. And one day, you're going to build something that changes the world. I'm not guessing. I know. I close the laptop. I look out the window. The Golden Gate is half hidden in morning fog, its cables disappearing into white like a bridge between two things you can't see at the same time. My phone is silent. Nobody is calling. And for the first time, that silence doesn't feel like absence. It feels like space. My name is Camille Porter. I'm 27 years old. And I'm finally home. And that's my story. If you made it this far, I just want to say, thank you. Whether you're someone who's been through something like this, or someone who's just starting to realize you deserve better, you do. Now I have a question for you. What would you have done at that dinner table? Would you have signed that paper? Or would you have given them the money? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one, and check the description below for more stories like this. I'll see you in the next video.